just got to talk about Ben Johnson, our offensive coordinator. God bless him for coming back. We don't know what the situation is with Aaron Glenn as of now. I'm hearing a lot of the rattling is that the Washington fans want Aaron Glenn as the coach, but I'm also hearing that Dan Quinn has re-entered the race after the Ben Johnson kind of dismissal of the group. And I want to ask you guys this because it's kind of been like an up and down roller coaster with AG the entire time. And we've never really cashed in a top 10 defense per se, but it's been a young one. I want to know, do you truly feel – actually, KG, I'll probably start with you on this one because this topic was your idea. Do you truly feel the Detroit Lions are better with AG?
Yeah.
Or going along and maybe finding a Mike Vrabel or whoever it end up may being? Do you think AG's the best option for the Detroit Lions? Are they better with or without him?
This was tough. I really had to think about it. I do think the Lions are better with AG at this point. It just lack of talent has seemed to be the big issue here. I know a lot of people want to complain about scheme and stuff like that, but what I've seen throughout the season is, yes, he's had problems, but when he's had a major problem, he has fixed it. There was one point in the season where we could not get a pass rush whatsoever. He started blitzing more. You started seeing results. He started disguising more safeties and more linebackers. There was a point where we were failing to get turnovers, and toward the end of the season and into the playoffs, we started seeing our secondary start to come up with some of these key turnovers that we absolutely needed. I feel like another year under AG with a lot more talent, because you look at our cap situation and another year of Brad Holmes cooking in the draft, which I do see primarily defense being most of his picks. I want to see what it looks like. However, I do feel that it's getting to a point with AG that he needs to show a little bit more improvement on that end, because when you give up like almost 200 yards to star receivers every single week, that is absolutely a problem. Yes, we got by on it. Yes, we won with that formula, but that's not a formula you want to keep repeating. Eventually, you're playing with fire, you're going to get burned.
Yeah.
So, and that's just how I feel about it. But I would give AG at least one more year to try and see what this looks like with more talent.
I would agree. I agree with KG. I think this defense is in a better situation when Aaron Glenn is the one making the decisions and making the calls. You need more pass rush. Yes. And you need a lockdown corner. Get that man a number one cornerback and get him a secondary pass rusher. And if he's still giving up, 300 yards through the air game, then we could talk about it. But until I see him have a legit number one out there, and I like Cam Sutton, I do. I think he's a very talented guy, but he's not a number one cornerback in this league. He's a good number two. He's a good number two. He's a very good number two. Yeah. So if you get him a number one lockdown guy, and then go out and get Aiden Hutchinson some help. Put a guy. I've been saying that for a while. You put a guy on the opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe James Houston. That's who he is. We'll see. Coming back from the injury, he only had the one game, but hopefully he'll be ready to go next year, and he'll be ready to fill that role if they don't end up making any moves on that part of the defense. But give AG another year. You see how much better this defense got from last year. You see how fast he flipped the script on the run defense. Like, he made this one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL to the best rushing defense in the NFL in 1 year. What's to say he can't do the same with the pass defense when he gets some pieces in there that can actually help it out? These guys love Aaron Glenn. They all respect Aaron Glenn.
Yep.
He has a very strong voice in this locker room, and the strides his defense has taken over the past year, I think, will only continue to grow when you get him more pieces. I said it a couple years ago. It's trying to make a salad with spoiled vegetables. Well, now those vegetables are starting to get ripe. You see the fruits of the draft with a guy like Brian Branch. You see the fruits of the draft in that defensive line with guys like Lee McNeil and Aiden Hutchinson. Jack Campbell looks like he's going to be good. I think he's going to take a big leap next year as a linebacker. We have Alex Anzalone, who's been playing the best ball of his career the past couple of years. You get him one of those lockdown outside cornerbacks and a secondary edge rusher, and I think you see a top 10 defense next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Top 10 is steep, and it's only because for me, I got to see it happen first. You know what I'm saying? I don't like just like saying the things, but no, I do agree with that. And I think you made a great point in bringing up like the run defense and what it was under the Matt Patricia era. It was horrendous. It was awful. I believe even like the first year that AG was here, it still was not a good run defense. But we've seen them progressively get better and better to the point where now you're looking at, as you're looking at a top 3 offense, we're looking at top 3 run defense in the league. And you look at this team, you think about the number one needs for it. At least for me, you start on the defensive side of the ball with two positions, for a defensive lineman or cornerback. And cornerback, in my opinion, is number one. So you look at the run defense, you got that down. But you need an outside cornerback. You need a number one cornerback to complete the puzzle. And we don't have that. So to, like, in my opinion, unfairly criticize him that it's not there while also admitting that we need, like, the talent piece, the personnel piece of it is wild to me.
Yeah.
I think you look at the fact maybe you could bitch a little bit about us not being able to drum up a pass rush with 4 men down. That makes sense. But that's why you see AG change things up schematically, and then you start blitzing that. You start blitzing the extra safety. You start blitzing Brian Branch. You start blitzing Devontae Melifonwu. And guess what ended up happening? You start landing sacks. You start forcing these quarterbacks to make stupid throws, and they start turning the ball over. It's a nod towards him kind of knowing what the fuck he's doing. Yeah, in my opinion, that is, at least. And it's like, okay, well, let's continue to get him characters to play those roles that he needs for this to be, like Spinney said, a top 10 defense. And I'm fairly confident that he could cash that in.
Yeah.
This isn't a guy that's getting head coaching interviews for shits and giggles. It doesn't add up. You know what I'm saying? To say that this guy sucks in one hand, but then also say, okay, we need this and this and this, though.
Right.
It's like, what do you expect to happen, guys? Like what do you, like, as you said, you're talking about making a salad. It's like, brother, it's like a jet salad. It always tastes like shit. The vegetables will always be fucking, like, soggy and spoiled. It's like
big-ass pepperoncinis in that bitch. You know, the hard part of the lettuce.
You didn't even cook this shit, man. What the fuck? But, you know, give him these fresh pieces, and he's going to make something good for you. I think we've seen that. I mean, when it mattered most against the San Francisco 49ers, who are, I think, the only team that ranked above us as an offense, he held them to 7 points in that first half.
Yeah. Now,
obviously, things broke, and then they will against the number one offense in the league, or number wherever they ranked. I think they're 2 or 1. I don't remember. But regardless, I think he can do it. It's just he needs the pieces with him. And then going back to what Dan Campbell said about consistency, chemistry. Actually, JB, that video I sent you just before the show, if you could play that one, because this is Devontae Melifonwu, who I believe came on as like a corner piece and a stud part of this defense. I mean, this is something like he's transitioning from a cornerback to a safety. You want to talk about keeping, like, I guess, the same stuff going on. This is what he had to say about it.
It won't be as much mentally, because I'll know the scheme, unless it gets changed, I'm not sure, but the scheme, and it'll be less mentally and more just physically, I would say. Mentally, like studying tape, but not in terms of, like, scheme and plays.
Health was such a big.
So if we're doing this last dance and we're running this one back, why would we switch everything up? Where a guy like that, who's been performing phenomenally at his new position, the safety position, would have to just change shit that he just learned. And not just shit that he just learned, as I said a million times, but shit that he's executing at a high level. It just wouldn't make sense if the goal is to win. I'd rather have AG back.
Yeah.
And before that, I was kind of like loose with it. Like, if he comes back, it is what it is. Like, I still respect AG. But now it's to the point where it's like, okay, Ben's coming back. I think they're all in, man.
Run that shit back, bro.
Run that shit back, Turbo. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and to y'all point, man, I know a lot is made about the pass, but it's not like, you know, we're getting killed in the pass and the run. I don't think his run defense gets enough credit. They've been very stout in run defense the past couple of years, especially this year. So it seems like he has one side of the ball figured out. If they can figure out the secondary and you know, attacking, you know, keeping teams from attacking the air, I think we'll be good.
Yeah. Your guy you're going to talk about later, Chop Robinson. If it falls there, that'd be a great piece, man.
It'd be a great pick.
Little stuff that I watching him, that guy's, I'm going to let you speak on him, but he'd be a great piece for what AG's trying to do. And, yeah, man, I just don't think he has every piece of the puzzle yet. And
no, he's still missing some pretty essential pieces of the puzzle. Like, he's still missing some pretty important. You want to have a good pass defense. You want to lock down these wide receivers out there. It would help to have a lockdown cornerback.
Yeah.
It would help to have another guy who could sack the quarterback. Like, those are two pretty vital pieces when it comes to stopping a passing game. So I think that is something that we will see next year. And I think the improvement of this defense is going to be visible when you look from last year to this year going forward. And like Iffy said, man, these guys are comfortable in the scheme now. They're comfortable with Aaron Glenn, how he calls, what he likes to do. And if you take that away and restart as a team who's trying to push for a Super Bowl this year, it could cause some negative impacts.
It's like
look what happened to the Eagles.
Yeah.
When the Eagles lost their coordinators, they fell apart.
Yeah. And I forget the phrase it is, but regardless, a lot of leaders go by, if you know what your principal belief is, it's easy to build around that. It's easy to build towards that. It's easy to find different routes because you know what the main goal is, what the principle is. The methods may change, but the principle stays the same.
Yes.
AG's done that. it's switched around. It's been different, but he's been consistent at stopping the run. He just hasn't had the other piece in the cornerback of stopping it. It's like they have that principle belief, and I think that's why we've been able to see them cash in, like finally good defensive games against good offenses, like when it matters most, because they know what the core principle is of the defensive philosophy, versus coming in and starting all over. I just don't know if it's best if you want to win right now, which I believe may be the goal when you have Ben Johnson signing up for another year after turning down head coaching opportunities.
Continuity matters. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially with these guys. We've seen it before, not only with the coaches, but with the players. They love bringing in their own guys, the same guys, the guys they have that they've worked with before. So it is an important factor for them.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, CJG's is an example of that too, right? It's like, okay, we're bringing somebody in here, we're bringing somebody that's kind of different from like what we've been believing as like our core players. We know this guy knows our principle. He knows like what we were trying to do as a defense. It's not only is he going to like execute it, but he's also going to help on the younger guys too. Yeah. Say what you want about CJGJ. I know I've had my things to say. I've really only had the one beef when he kind of just drawn shit up, and I didn't want to draw anything into the locker room. That's been my only beef. I think on the field he's good. I think I like when he talks shit to other players. I have no issue with that stuff. And he also, again, helped these guys buy in to what AG's core principle is, because he's a guy who's been successful in that like style of defense, per se, for Brian Branch and for Fonte Melifonwu. That's another piece too. I got a shout out. Not a good shout out, but a shout out on his stream last night. Yeah. Shout out to CJGJ, and I hope you receive that jersey.